Clown Prince of Crime is in the DorkLair. Welcome to another DorkLair action figure review. Today I'm taking a look at the Mezco 112 Collective Clown Prince of Crime Joker action figure. This is formerly known as the Punk Joker. I think on some early branding in their teases at conventions, and then also even on the box for the figure, like the shipping cards, it still says Punk Joker, but they kind of changed it up and called him the Clown Prince of Crime, but he definitely has some punk kind of stylings to him. Definitely a very modern Joker. This isn't a classic coattails type Joker. This is definitely very punk-like, almost cool guy Joker. I love this figure. This thing is awesome. I'm super excited to have it because I actually got rid of my other Joker figures. I went through a couple. I had the original regular Joker a while back, and then when the Punisher came out, I ended up picking an extra one and trading it for the deluxe Joker, and then sold my regular standard Joker to a friend of mine, and then the other Joker became such a valuable figure that it's one of those situations where I was like, oh, I could probably get like 4 Mezcos if I sell this thing and then just wait for the Punk Joker, which I now have in hand, and I think is fantastic. There's some things I do prefer on this over the other ones, although I do like the classic look on the other ones. But this is a really cool figure. Very glad it's finally out. I got a great deal on it. I got it on eBay. I put in a best offer for $75 and it was accepted, and then there was also a 10% coupon, so my total came to like $67 for this particular Joker, which I think is right where you should be if you're looking to pick this one up, because the carton count indicated a very high production run. Nothing groundbreaking, but high enough for this is going to be in stock at a lot of places for a while. So if you're like the bargain hunter type like I am, just kind of hold out for something between 60 and 70. Like, I think 65 is a good target to try to pick this guy up on. If you're super patient, you might even be able to get it for cheaper, because it's just one of those things with the standard release Mezcos. If you play the waiting game, especially this time of year, comic convention season, exclusives, people are just burning through their wallets and looking to offload some product to get their money back. But awesome figure. Let's get into this review. So I do love the packaging on this release. It's got this cool pinstripe looking. It's almost got an athletic feel to the packaging, and it's got this great Joker logo with the clown mask on the front. Some basically the same styling as the base on the side there. And then you can see the things it comes with on the back, and then the same styling on this side as well. And of course, as usual, you've got some nice glossy parts and mixed in with sort of just like the regular finish of the packaging. 112 on the bottom, title of the character up top. I like this box a lot. I do like this new Joker logo. I'm not sure if it comes from anywhere, like a particular comic or anything like that, but very cool packaging. Okay, so looking at the sculpt paint and details, tailoring and whatnot on this guy, and this head sculpt is really a highlight of the figure for me. It's definitely like we're looking at a younger Joker, so maybe this one kind of pairs with the Ascending Knight Batman a little bit more, like the younger Batman and the younger Joker paired up, and then you could perhaps have the Sovereign Knight paired with the deluxe or standard Joker, and who knows, maybe they'll do some other Joker. But so definitely kind of a younger look to him. He's got basically like a modern hairstyle, and but look at that grin. The grin is fantastic. You've got all this dark paint into the eyes, and it's just a menacing kind of look to him. And the thing I like most about this release is they went really heavy with the white. On the previous two, I think they were trying to give it a sense of flesh coming through, and to me, it had a little bit too much of a translucent kind of feel to it, and that's one of the reasons why I was sort of okay with selling the deluxe, because and that deluxe is a phenomenal figure. It's got so many head sculpts. It's loaded. But I do really like this kind of more solid paint going on. Bright green eyes. The teeth are sort of glossy, but also you can see the gums and a little bit of dirt in there and the teeth. And then the hair up here, it does look like a buzz cut. So you can almost see, like, you know how when somebody has a buzz cut and you kind of see the skin underneath? You can kind of see the white underneath there. It's sort of like powdered in there as well. And then he's got like a styled sort of hipster haircut on the top with some black wash to give it a nice, bring out that sculpt really nicely. Coming down the figure, he's got a purple shirt on, and it's very satiny. It's almost like, I don't know, I imagine this Joker being in a casino or something like that. But that purple has a very nice satiny look to it. You've got a few buttons down the middle of that purple shirt. I don't think this thing is removable. I haven't tried to like get the vest off. You could probably pull it off if you maybe pop the arms off, or even if you just sort of figure out how to like maneuver it around those arms. You might be able to get it off and just go with like a purple t-shirt kind of thing. Coming down to the belt, it's got suspenders that are connected to the pants, and mine were connected to the pants and then came up and over the belt, and I slid it all the way up through because it just didn't seem right to me, because they're connected to the pants and then it would sort of go loop down and under the belt and it would yank the belt up. So I tucked them under, and so now the suspenders are actually beneath the belt rather than coming over the top of the belt, and they kind of function better. And these are functioning suspenders, so if you were to just take them and bring them around his arms, they're made of a stretchy material, and they can come up and over his shoulders like that, and then he's sort of wearing his suspenders there. I do think they're kind of attached a little too close to the middle at the waist. I'm not a suspenders expert, but I don't know, for me that just seems a little weird. It looks a little too close in the middle, but in the back it is one suspender strap that forks up top at this sort of buckle type thing. And then the belt itself has studs to kind of follow that whole punk Joker kind of feel to him. And he's got these two sheaths that are actually functional, and you can put the knives right into the sheaths and they fit well. The knives are super sort of small and delicate. Be very careful with those, but they fit in there nicely, and there's a little accent on the bottom to make it look like it's got a reinforced, like metal tip there. Then you got sort of like a brass painted buckle on the front. The pants are these nice pinstripe look. Again, I get almost carnival sort of, maybe like casino or some kind of, I don't know. I'm not sure what vibe I get totally from this outfit. Continuing down to the boots, you have more of that punk kind of thing going on with the mixture of these kind of like fancy pants and then combat boots. Just a hodgepodge of craziness going on with the outfit there. Getting a little close-up of his gloves, definitely like some metal studs in there, and you can see his fingers coming through with the like fingerless gloves. A little paint on his thumbnail there, so the gloves look really nice. One of the things that I've noticed some people have issues with is paint chipping. I think some people got figures where the elbow joint was painted, and I think maybe mine was. I see a little bit of a chip there, but really it's not as bad as people were saying in some of the early in-hand pics. Like mine seems fine. The joint is just cast in sort of a white. You're going to obviously see the joint. So that pretty much does it for the most of the details, at least on the like figure as he is in the box, and we'll get into the accessories right after we take a look at how he compares to some other figures. All right, so the first two we're going to take a look at are figures that are on either the same or a very, very similar body. I think they share a lot of the same parts. I do think Daredevil has a modified torso because he's got a lot more articulation in the torso, but there you have the Spock, which is probably my favorite 112 figure, and then the Daredevil Vigilante. Okay, so then moving to a few other Mezco's different body types. So starting off with a couple Batman figures, we have the Batman v Superman Batman next to Joker, and the Sovereign Knight next to Joker. And pulling him off, we'll bring in the Ascending Knight, so you can see how he looks next to the two versions. This is the PX exclusive Ascending Knight. And then the Purple Catwoman the exclusive Catwoman there. And finally, the Batman Beyond Batman figure right here. For accessories, he comes with this teddy bear bomb contraption, and this thing is quite detailed. You can see even like there, it's got some fur kind of, or whatever you call that, like stuffing sort of ripping through. Some nice leather strap details, a little clock there with some dynamite sticks and some nice weathering to give it like a, little level of creepiness, because it's all a teddy bear, but it's all missing an eye and all worn out and nasty, to do some nasty business. But pretty cool little accessory there. Also comes with a submachine gun here, painted in sort of Joker colors, almost like a camouflage Joker kind of look to the gun. This piece right here is a removable magazine. And if you look in there, if I can get the focus right, you can see there is a bullet in there, a little detail painted on. Very nicely little detailed weapons. Mezco always has awesome accessories with fun little play features like that removable magazine. And then it's got a black handle there. The handle feels a little bit large in his hand. Let me put it on there real quick. It feels a little big on there, like a kid's hand holding a larger gun, but not too bad, I guess. And it does come with one extra magazine, so you can swap that out. It's painted slightly differently, I think, but if you lose one or something like that, it's got an extra. He comes with this cane that's got a pretty cool skull on top. The skull does feel like it's sort of pewter or something, it's like kind of got that look to it. A little bit of paint on there, black cane for the most part, but a little gold or brass accent there, and then probably a little steel tip at the bottom. But yeah, it looked pretty cool looking cane. And as far as I'm concerned, on my shelf, I will probably have him pose with this cane, because that's my preferred look with this figure. And he comes with two knives that slide, as I showed earlier, right into that sheath. These are very small, very thin and delicate. You want to be careful with these. But they do have a little bit of an edge to them, and so they look like throat-slitting knives, definitely. Almost an assassin's tools or something like that. And the knives fit right into the hand pretty comfortably. They look pretty good fitting right into that hand there. For hands, he comes with two sort of like slightly angled gripping hands. It's almost like a golf grip or something. And I would imagine those, you can use them for whatever, but those are two of the same gripping hands, and so those would probably look good with the knives because they're the same style of grip. He comes with one sort of straight gripping hand, maybe for the cane, but he doesn't have a matching hand for that one. The other two hands he comes with are both right hands, and he's got sort of an open gesturing kind of hand, and then he has a hand that I showed before for holding the gun. And finally, we have this alternate head sculpt. His teeth are not showing. He's just sort of grinning here, and his hair is all messed up. So just sort of a different kind of messy look to him. I feel like this one is like the crazier head, even though it's not as intensive like a grin or smile, because of the messy hair and just the way it is, but looks pretty good. I like this head as well. I do prefer the other one. It's more jokery to me. This one is a little the hair is a little much for me. It just doesn't quite feel like Joker, but pretty cool looking head nonetheless. And lastly, he comes with the usual Mezco stand. Like the other Jokers, it's got ha 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 all over it, and you can swap out that peg and put the flight arm in there and everything like usual. And one other thing I was going to mention is this coat that I had on in the opening shot. And so this is a custom piece by the creator named Eriku, Eriku. You can just sort of Google that, Eriku figures or something like that, and you'll find their site. But they are closing shop because I guess he's moving, and he's got to close up his online store. So in fact, right now there's a good time to get some deals. I picked this up on the cheap because they are sort of clearancing out everything, but it's pretty cool. And there are some other coats and stuff still available up there if you want to try to pick something up. But it's got a wire coming down the front of the coat right here, and you can sort of pose it. It's not the strongest wire, but it works pretty well. And it's got a nice satiny inside. It's a really nicely finished coat. I picked it up for $30, so I mean, I'm very happy with the quality of this thing for $30. It's quite nice. It feels a little large on him, like not large, but some of the just like extra fabric. I feel like it could have been tailored a little more tightly to kind of like match the Joker body, but you know, it's probably a little big, so you can use it with a few other figures if you want to mix and match it with other characters, like maybe a Punisher or something like that. But I like it. I think it looks great on him. And it will be on him on my shelf. This is the coat that I got to go with my Joker because I felt like that was kind of one thing that he was missing. So super happy to have this coat with it. Okay, last but not least, we have articulation, and he has the head that is one piece, just like Daredevil, just like Spock, and the other figures that share this body type. But I don't mind it. You know, preferably I would like two pieces like they did with Thor and Spider-Man, where they had the necks separate pieces, but they also had extra necks with them. So, you know, it would be preferable in my opinion, but they're going with the seamless look here. So I guess I can't really blame them too much because that's kind of their thing, is they don't want to show a lot of joints. And that kind of comes down to the elbows as well. Single jointed elbows has been standard on this Joker bodies, on the Spock. Even kind of surprisingly, they went with this body for the Vigilante Daredevil, so that's a little disappointing because his elbows can only go up that far. Okay, so moving into the articulation, the head can come down this far, and it can look up that far, and it's fairly expressive. It can kind of rock side to side and spin all the way around and stuff. The shoulders can rotate up about this high. I don't want to push it too much, but that's about as high as it's going for me. Could maybe get a little bit more out of that. The arm will rotate all the way up to the top and then back down. Again, the elbow comes up this far. There is a rotation at the elbow, but there's no upper bicep swivel. It's just one solid piece up into the shoulder. So that's a little bit of a limitation there. But you get that rotation in the elbow. And then the wrist has a hinge, and then it'll swivel and rotate around. One place where I think this differs from the Daredevil figure is up in the chest. This does not quite have the same articulation as Daredevil. It actually barely moves. There is articulation, like you can see it turning there, and you can crunch back and forward, but only just the tiniest bit. It's almost not enough to call it like a point of articulation, the way it can not really crunch forward too much. So he's basically kind of a straight up and down figure, not a ton of like crunch motion. If you combine that with the waist, you can get a tiny bit of crunch that much and then back this much. So articulation is definitely limited on this guy. And then his waist does twist as well a little bit. The leg can kick up a good amount. I have had the legs pop off of this body, not this figure, but the Daredevil, I think it popped out. But so if your leg pops out from doing this, just don't panic too much. Just try to pop it back in. It will go back in, you know, unless it's an actual break. And then the knees are double jointed, so the knees can bend over that far. The hips can kick out pretty far to the sides to get them into a wider stance. And then there is an upper thigh swivel, nothing down at the knee, so there's no other swivel or any sort of articulation at the knee besides the bend. The boot does rotate. The foot will point down this far and point up that far, and then it can rock quite a bit for a Mezco down that far there. And it'll come out a little bit as well. And the boot can rotate all the way around, and the boot can rotate at the bottom as well. So there's two sort of rotation points. If it weren't for that limited articulation, this would be just an absolutely hit for me. But I still love it. Even though it's limited in the articulation, that doesn't really change it too much for me, because I can get him into some cool Joker poses. I don't need to have him doing karate kicks or anything like that. It's the Joker. So it's a pretty cool figure. I'm very glad to finally have a Joker back in my collection because I kind of went on faith that this would be a good figure, and sold my other Jokers to fund other stuff. Anyway, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out my other videos like my review of the Sovereign Knight Batman, as well as some recent videos. I've been doing a ton of Mythic Legions lately. Check out the DorkLair Collecting Podcast. Follow me on Instagram at the DorkLair. And until next time, may the Force be with you.
DorkLair.